This video will show you how to replace the cooling fan assembly on a Subaru Outback. This will be located across the front of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Now we're going to have to drain the coolant and we're going to have to make our way underneath the front of the vehicle. So make sure you're in a safe area to do so. We'll make sure the cooling system is cool to the touch. You never open the cooling system if it's hot. Maybe you just came back from a road test. We're pressing down on the radiator cap and turning it counterclockwise. Lift it up and away from your face. Never open it towards your face. A quick inspection of that seal, and now I'm just going to rest that along the top of the radiator. While this is open, let's safely make our way under the front of the vehicle. Now we're making our way under the front of the vehicle. We have to remove our lower splash shield. Now this is a fairly large splash shield, and there's going to be several pieces of mounting hardware holding it in position. You're going to find that you have push clips and mounting bolts. As far as push clips, if you are looking along either side, you're going to find that there's push clips holding our fender liners in place to the splash shield. We're going to remove those first. Go ahead and do both sides of the vehicle. Once you finish both sides, we're making our way towards the center of the splash shield. Now tucked up inside of these areas, you're going to find that you have a push pin that needs to be removed. There's one over here and the same thing over towards the passenger side. Now we can make our way straight rearward. You can see two more here. As you look outward as well, you're going to find that there's two 12mm bolts inside of them. We'll save those for last. Continue rearward. We have two more push pins here along each side. Same on both sides, obviously. Now along the outside here, you can see that there's a push pin. You can remove that. Let's continue on, same thing on both sides. In the center, we have a couple push clips here. This whole plastic panel should be able to come out. We can set that aside. As you make your way rearward, there should be one here. Ours is missing, same process. And now we can make our way towards our 12mm headed mounting bolts. Keep in mind, these are the last things holding this shield in place. Both bolts are out of position. Let's lower this splash shield. On the bottom passenger side corner is where you're going to find your drain. We have our collection receptacle under this area. We're going to collect and recycle all fluids as required. Let's turn that drain plug counterclockwise. We're waiting to see a steady trickle of fluid making its way out of the drain port. We'll let the coolant fully drain before continuing on. Now that finished draining, we'll close our drain plug. Just go ahead and wipe down any mess in this area. Now it's time to install the lower engine splash shield. Now this does have two 12mm bolts that are going to hold it in place. That's what we're going to start with, but we are not tightening them yet. We still need to be able to shift this around as necessary. Now that we have those bolts in place, we're heading towards the back. Start getting some push clips in here. We're making our way rearward. Continue on with those push clips. Make our way over here. Let's get this one in here. Now we're all the way over on the other side of the vehicle here. We can put in our push pin. Now that we got that done, we're going to be focusing along each side of the splash shield. You can see that we have an area for 3 push clips. We'll be starting in this rearward corner. Now, as we're looking along the side here, you're going to find that there's actually 4 ports on the splash shield itself. We want to aim for the upper ports for each one of these push pins. Let's get this one. Double check this side, repeat the process on the other side, and then we're going to continue on along the front. Okay, this side's in. Now as for the front, we had a couple push clips. These ones come in from an angle. Now we're lining this up with the upper ports as well. Our next push pin in here. Now we're making our way rearward. We have a couple push pin ports. Now we're making our way towards each one of our mounting bolts. We can tighten those up. Double check to confirm it's properly in place and you can make your way out from under the vehicle. Now we're going to make our way back up into the engine compartment. This is where we can see our air inlet tube. We're going to dislodge that by removing 2 plastic push clips. Let's take hold of this, we'll give it a wiggle and pull it up and away from the vehicle. Now we're focusing along the top center of the radiator. We're going to dislodge our upper radiator hose. We have a squeezable clamp. Go ahead and squeeze that in and we'll pull this out of place. We'll give the hose a quick inspection. I'm using pliers. Go ahead and take hold of that hose. We're going to attempt to give it a twist to separate it. If it does not separate, you can use a hose pick. Just be extremely careful not to cause any damage. Soft and pliable, not cracked. Go ahead and set that aside. Now we're moving over towards the radiator cap. This is where we can see our coolant overflow hose. Go ahead and take that off of the radiator. Soft and pliable. Continue on to removing the reservoir from your fan assembly. It's held in place with 2 10mm headed mounting bolts. Remove the pair and the overflow tank. Now, as far as this overflow tank, once you have the top dislodged, you're going to have to carefully pull this up and then rock it out of position. Along the bottom, it has 1 locating tab. Now we're going to focus on the cooling fan itself. Before we disconnect the mounting hardware, have a look down along the bottom of each side of the cooling fan. You're going to find an electrical connector. As far as this electrical connector, it has a locking tab. We'll squeeze it in and pull it out of place. You have the same exact thing on the opposite side of the fan. If you find you have a hard time squeezing, you could try using some pliers. It's a tight area. You could also use a small pick or screwdriver. If that's the case, you want to make your way in and behind the lock and gently pry it away. Every time you disconnect an electrical connector, just a quick peek for corrosion. If you see any, it's going to need to be taken care of. That's one side of the fan assembly. Go over to the other side and repeat the exact same process. Get that one. Quick inspection, that looks good. Now we're making our way up along the top of the fan and the radiator. This is where we're going to find 3 locking tabs. There's one over on the passenger side, over towards the center, and now all the way over towards the driver's side. For any of these locking tabs, you just want to squeeze them together and gently push the fan away from the radiator. It might be a tight fit. You just want to be careful not to cause any damage. If you need to, you could gently pry. There we are. As I was dislodging the first one, you can tell that the center has already dislodged, but it's the same process. Just go ahead and squeeze those tabs and push it out of place. Last one all the way over on the far side. If you find it stuck, you could try squeezing on the locking ears. Now that we have that dislodged, the next thing we're going to do is take hold of the fan assembly and lift it up and out of the vehicle. As we lift this up, we're being extremely careful for our radiator cooling fins. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of any brand new parts, of course we're going to clean and inspect our mounting areas. Down along the bottom of the radiator, you're going to find that you have 2 mounting points, one on either side. Now these are plastic and of course they're part of the radiator. Just confirm that each of those are in good condition. We've already checked our wiring harnesses. Once you've confirmed all of this, make your way up to the top to the 3 locking tabs. Now essentially for each of these tabs, we just want to make sure that they are still pliable and they're not broken in any way. We want to make sure the fan will be secured to the radiator. Now it's time to install the brand new cooling fan. Prior to bringing this into the vehicle, on each side of this, you're going to find that you have ears, and those ears are going to slide over the small tabs on the bottom of the radiator. Those are the areas that we just finished cleaning. Now, just as when we were removing this, we were being extremely careful for the radiator, we're doing the same now. Line up those ears with their tabs. Once it's aligned down there, we also want to roll it in up along the locked position on the top. Now take your time on this because you do have to be properly aligned and we don't want to cause any damage. Once the bottom is aligned, you should also find that the top aligns as well. After you have all 3 of those tabs locked in, we're going to squeeze this up against the radiator and you need to confirm it's secured. Now look right here. You can see that one of my locking tabs is not properly squeezed in. It's towards the center. That can become a problem where this could separate, and we definitely don't want that. So we're going to spread these ears. A simple flat blade screwdriver should do. Double check to make sure it's secured. I'm just going to go ahead and press that over a little bit further here. We're continuing towards the center. Now this is a pretty tight fit here. It's kind of what we want. Check those ears. all the way down to the far end. Once again, double check. Now that we're done with those locking tabs, it's time for our electrical connectors. There's one along each side of the fan assembly. Line it up, press it in, listen for a click. After an audible click, just go ahead and give it a tug, make sure it's secured in place. Repeat the process on the other side of your fan assembly. Let's get our upper radiator hose in place. Line it up, press it onto the radiator. You want to make sure it's completely bottomed out. We'll take that clamp and put it in its original position. Double check, make sure it's properly secured, and you can feel the radiator on the inside of the hose. This is important. Now it's time for the coolant reservoir. As you remember, down along the bottom we had one locating tab, and if you're looking down there, we have a circular port for that to fit into. There we are. Now I have the lower portion slid into place. I'm focusing up along the top. Two 10mm mounting bolts here. Go ahead and start them in. Once they're both started, you can snug them up. Let's get the overflow hose in place. Slide it on there, make sure it's secured as well. If it does slide, you can use a wire tie if necessary. Now it's time for our inlet tube. This portion's going to go into the air filter housing. Just line it up, press it in. Once you have that aligned, we're focusing along the forward side next. We have the areas for our two push pins. Once you have those aligned, continue on with those push pins. Just line them up, press them in there, lock them down with the center. Now it's time to fill the cooling system. Along the top of the radiator, we have our radiator cap. Go ahead and remove that. To fill the cooling system, there's several different ways of doing so. You can either have a specialty tool, or you could just have a basic funnel system like what we have here. Either way, we need to put fluid in and make sure there's no air inside of the cooling system. This can cause an overheating condition. If you are using this funnel, just go ahead and line it up, use the proper adapter, and make sure it's tight. The funnel should not be able to move around. Remove the stopper and add coolant. At this point, you can tell that we've removed the air from in the system, at least so far. We have to go ahead and start up the vehicle. We're going to let it run. You may find that more air makes its way out of the system. Continue running the vehicle with your temperature setting on hot. We're going to wait until we hear the cooling fans turn on. Once those cooling fans turn on, the cooling system should be in the full open position as far as flow is concerned. The thermostat's going to be opened. Any air that's in the system will be removed. Fluid will make its way down. Once you've removed all air from the system, go ahead and remove your funnel. Okay, we finished running the vehicle. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Keep in mind your coolant may be hot at this point. We'll remove our adapter and install our radiator cap. Double check to make sure your coolant reservoir is up to the maximum line as well. Clean any mess in this area. Okay, friend, we finished our installation. We've already run the vehicle and we're sure we do not have any coolant leaks. At this point, you can go ahead and close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.